how to install Oracle Identity Manager and how to configure it. So this is the sequence of installing Fusion Middleware products. Okay, so first thing is we need to install and configure the database. It can be Oracle database, it can be SQL database, it can be XC database, it can be any database for that matter. Then we have to install WebLogic server, or since this is Oracle product, it's recommended to install WebLogic server. Otherwise, we can install WebSphere also, or this Fusion Middleware is, we are talking about Oracle. We have IBM Fusion Middleware also. In this, we can install several other application server. So installing WebLogic server here means installing any of the application server. It can be WebSphere, WebLogic, or any other. Okay, but for Oracle Fusion Middleware product, it's recommended to use the WebLogic server. Install WebLogic server. WebSphere can also be used, but most of the time WebLogic we use. Okay. Then we install Oracle Fusion Middleware schemas using RCU. RCU is a utility which is used to create schemas, in the database. So whenever we are installing any of the product for Oracle Fusion Middleware, be it SOA, IDM, UCM, or whatever, we need to create few schemas in the database in order to save the data in the schemas. Okay, so later on we see what all schemas we create, how we install, how we run the RCU, and all those things we'll see in the later section of this webinar. So once the Oracle Fusion Middleware schemas are created, depending on what products you install, and it is not mandatory to install each and every product in one go. Whatever you need it, whatever is the business need, like OID, OVD, OAM, or whatever is the business need, we can go ahead and configure or install all those products, and do not use any or more than one of the product. Is simply the administrator choice, but it depends on the business need, what the business now wants, and there are different features for different tools. Okay, for different features for different tools. So whatever is expected, whatever the business need, we can go ahead and install and configure and use it. Okay, now after installing RCU, we need to install IDM. Okay, IDM, there is a way we can install it. There are the binaries. All these binaries are available on Oracle Technology Network, OTN, oracle.com. You can go and download all these products and start using it. You can install it on a Windows server or whatever platform you want. I have installed these products in my laptop also. I have a Unix server. Inside that Unix server, I have installed all these things, and it's working fine. Okay, so installing and these things, we can just download the binaries. Later on, I can give you show you the link, or where we can download these things. So after installing IDM, we can create and configure the domain for IDM. Okay, so the first 3 points is just the same for every Fusion Middleware product. If you are installing SOA, if you are installing UCM, if you are installing WCI or IDM, the first 3 steps are the same. Okay, the third step, we need to install schemas for that particular product. In that matter, if we are installing SOA, then we create the schemas for using RCU, using SOA. The SOA schemas we can create in the database. For IDM schemas, similarly like this. So when we configure the domain, when the domain is configured, the installation and the configuration is done, we go ahead and start the servers and start using them. Okay, so now I assume in this case installing DB and WebLogic server, these things I assume that these things are pre-installed on the server. I start with the RCU. I will show you how to install RCU, and then other things. Okay, so this is the main screen where we need to. RCU is repository creation utility. So this is the main screen where you see that Oracle Identity Manager, Access Manager, OAM, and these things are there. We check this and we put a prefix, like in this case is dev1. Okay, so this is just to differentiate between different schemas. Like if we want two domain in the same connected to the same database, okay, so how do one OIM schema is different from the other schema, so we can create a new prefix like dev1, you can create dev2 for different domain. So this is how we create the schemas for identity IDM. Okay, it's a similar way we get a similar screen for SOA and other things also. Okay, so when we run the binary, this is the main screen that we get in Oracle Identity Management installation. It says we have to specify the middleware home, which in this case is CFMW Oracle middleware. Okay, this we can only get when the WebLogic is installed on the server. So whatever the WebLogic, when you install the WebLogic, the middleware home is defined there. Okay, when we define the WebLogic middleware home, we need to put that middleware home. It is mandatory to install any one of the application server. If you're talking about WebLogic, WebLogic should be installed prior to installing any of the middleware Fusion middleware product, be it IDMs, SOA, or any one of them. Okay, so that is mandatory. Without that, we will not be able to proceed with this screen. Okay, now the home directory for IDM is Oracle IDM1. If we are installing SOA, it would be Oracle _SOA. Okay, and go to the next screen, choosing components, what all components we need and we need to install. It is not mandatory to install all of the components. Okay, it is depends on the business need, depends on the architecture, what all components you need, and those only components you can go ahead and install. Okay, so here is the selection of all the components and services, OID and OVD and all the components you can see here. Okay, and now we go to the next screen. It says installation summary. This is the installation summary. We have Oracle middleware home, defined Oracle home location, which is the Oracle IDM location. Okay, this is the disk space and all those things, and what all components are installed, application selected for install. Okay, then when we click on install, it will go ahead and install the binaries. So this is just the installation part for identity IDM, identity management. And after we click install, we go to this screen. Okay, after this is installed, I mean it is in the setup is in progress. When this is installed, we go to, okay, after this screen, everything would be installed. I mean the IDM is installed. Now we go to the previous slide. Okay, so here we have seen after installing identity manager, we need to create and configure IDM domain. Okay, so now we go ahead and create identity manager domain. So here is the main screen. This is the main screen. When we run the domain wizard, this is the main screen that we see. Okay, so depending on what all you want to install in Fusion middleware, like here it says is Oracle Access Manager, Oracle Web Service Manager, and these things are checked here. Whatever you want to install, like for that matter it says SOA, SOA, and these things can be installed. Okay, this is just the screenshot. If you scroll up from here, it will show other products for Fusion middleware. You can go ahead and check all those things, and it would be installed. It would be configured in the domain. Okay, so we created. Remember, we created schemas for all these users and in the database. Now there is a need to connect to the schemas, and in this domain wizard, these are the schemas. We need to give that the database service name, the host name, the details, and the schema name and the schema password. All these passwords we have to give. As you see, the schema owner is FA_SOA infra or MDS or whatever. But in this case, it should be the same like we gave in the previous case. We give as while creating the schemas at dev1. So for that dev 1 and FA it should be the same. Okay, so here in this screen we give the login ID for the schema and the password and everything we give. Then once it is connected to the database, then the domain will be configured. Okay, so installation of database, then WebLogic, then RCU, then Fusion Middleware product. In this case it's IDM, and then the configuration and domain part is done. Okay, so we go to the next screen where it shows the directory structure of this infrastructure. Okay, so here is the directory structure. We have an admin server, we have ODSM server, SOA server, OIM, OEM. All these things would be can be seen from the console when we start up the admin server. Okay, so depending on whatever you have chosen to configure or to install and configure would be there. Like if you don't choose ODSM, so WLS OTS server would not be there. In this case we are doing at OIM or OIM, these things, it would be there in the admin server console. So later on we see the admin console, WebLogic console, and the EM console, and all the other consoles that are there. Okay, so go here. Now coming to the enterprise manager EM console, how it looks like and what are the features and what all we can do from the enterprise manager console, EM console. As I already said in the management slide, we can do a performance check, we can do configuration, we can do troubleshooting, we can do many things. We can check the CPU and the memory of the servers, and all those things we can do. So when the domain is configured and we start up the admin server, here is the screen that we usually see. Okay, on the right hand section it says the Fusion Middleware, WebLogic domain, admin server, OEM server, OIM server, SOA server. So these are down. We have just started the basic admin server. So we can go from the console also, from this console also we can start it and then move forward. Then we go to the second screen, how to configure the how to see the configuration, how about the performance, and these things we can see from here. From I click on IDM, and then we see several other properties and what are rules and policies and everything we can see. In this case all the servers have started, so it's showing as 100% up. Now we go to the next section. Next slide is Oracle ODSM, Oracle Directory Service Manager. ODSM, if you have configured, we can log in, and when we log in we see OID, OED inside this, and let me go to the next screen. Here it look like. Okay, so these are the user credentials and all those things that are there. What are the users and what are the privileges, what are the password. And ODSM console is just for the user. This is just for the IDM administrators, and in order to monitor and see the performance and what are the rules and policies and those things for the user. This is not visible to the outside world. This is Oracle Access Manager. Oracle Access Manager has Oracle OEM components and SSO components. These things are there, so we can see the performance, configuration, and all those things we can see. Here is the console for Oracle Identity Manager. Okay, so this is the console for OIM. Later on I can show you what all are the URLs for all these consoles, and okay, yeah, here. So these are the URL for whatever console we've been talking about, whatever we have installed and configured in our environment. So whatever we have installed and configured, when we connect to these URLs, it will come up, the console will come up. Otherwise we get a 404, that is page not found. That means it is not there in the configuration or is not installed. Okay, and these servers will only be up when the services for these products like OIM, ODSM, OAM, we start the server, then only this console will be up. Okay, now we take a live scenario, or in fact live scenario is the next slide. Okay, this we take it as how it is configured, how OIM, OED, OAS and these things are configured in a normal HR system. This is just an example how the identity manager products and tools are configured there, and how to use it, and what are things are there, what is the infrastructure, you can say. Okay, here is the HR system in a company where we have OIM, OID, OVD and all those products which we have installed and configured here. So firstly we talk about the directory structure. It says OVD. OVD is a real-time proxy for directory and any other repository for user info, an alternative or complement to meta directories. As I already said, it's a proxy service. It's just like a load balancer or clustering which would redirect the request coming to any of the directory services. In this case, it's AD and OID. Okay, so OID here is OID. It says a massively scalable database LDAP directory. Okay, this is just like an LDAP or AD directory wherein the users and groups and policies, these things are stored. So talking about Oracle Internet Manager, OIM, it provisions the new hires to app directories, etc., manages and tracks changes to user status. That means when a new user has joined the organization or requires certain rules and policies and authentication authorization, so new users, OIM is the tool which we can, like I took an example for DBA. Let's say a DBA joins in and we need to give them the DBA right. So there is no point giving a small right to a DBA. We create a profile for a DBA in OIM and give the DBA role to that particular user. Okay, so in whether we have to remove the user, we have to create the user, these things can be done very simple, but these things are very simple from OIM, Oracle Internet Manager. Okay, now we talk about access manager. Okay, OIM manages user access at web app level, single sign-on to any web-based app. That means when the request comes from the iPad, it's hijacked and it goes to Oracle Access Manager. Oracle Access Manager is just like user access, authentication and authorization is done at Oracle Access Manager. So every point the user don't have to go for the authentication and authorization and just wasting the time and the resources. So Oracle Access Manager is a tool. Oracle Access Manager is a tool. Once again, okay, now it seems it's visual. Okay, so Oracle Access Manager is a tool which manages the user access, whether it's authorized to enter the system, whether it's authenticated with the correct password, and these things we can do. Okay, OES, Oracle Entitlement Server, this is really used, manages user fine-grained access control, URL functions, etc. So this is basically the infrastructure, how we use the Oracle identity management tools. Okay, now we go to the next slide, which gives us the live example of a PF system. Okay, we go to PF office and how the tools will work, and OIM, OID, everything is configured there. So we take a live scenario for any particular user. Okay, how it will go, how it will access OID, OVD and all other IDM products, and how it will process the request. Okay, so here you see I have done the numbering 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is just the IDM workflow in a live system. So members log in, the members sitting in the in a PF board, it will log in, it will go to the web gate, okay, and web gate will hijack, as I said, from the web gate, from the OHS, this web gate is installed on the web server. Via web gate, the request is hijacked and it will go to OEM server for the authentication and the authorization. So firstly, it will check whether the user is authorized to log in into the system or not. As soon as this is authorized and authenticated by the access server, it will go back to the web gate and it will go back to the portal. It says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So this one, the user login, then it goes to web gate 2, goes to OEM, then it goes back to web gate and goes back to the portal. Okay. So first step is OEM access, which is authentication and authorization. Okay. Then after 5 we go to 6 and 7. 6 and 7 is the sync pass. Sync pass here is used like we use SSN number in United States, wherein it's mandatory for in the government portal to log in with the SSN number. Then only you can access these portals. So this is just like a sync pass. This is a mandatory tool for the government in Singapore, wherein we have to log in with the sync pass, and it will go to the government agency, and the authentication and authorization given from there. Okay, so this can be ignored if you are working in a non-sync pass or non-SSN environment like in India. We can directly go and log in. These things we can do. Okay, so after this sync pass on, it will go again to the web gate, and since the request is approved, it will go to OEM. But again, the OEM will pass the request. Okay, since it is authorized and authenticated, and authorization is done by OEM. Now it comes again to OEM, and OEM will redirect it to the OID via OVD. Okay, so OID, in this case it is OID. It can be LDAP, it can be an ED. So when requests come from OEM to OVD, it will redirect it to AD or LDAP or OID. So here in this case is a Oracle Internet Directory. Okay, so 10, and then it goes back to the portal, goes back to the web gate. Now the request is still at the iPlanet or web server, and it will go to the OAS, and there it does its function, and it will go back to the portal. So this is the normal scenario in a PF office or in a PF infrastructure, wherein the user logs in and how it goes, how these products are used, and these are very smart products. Okay, so this is how, I mean, these things when we install and configure. This is just an example for the live example of how it works. Okay, we go to next slide. Yes, thank you. So